everyone. This is Megan Mermaid, and this is my new show, Conversations with Friends, where I have amazing conversations with real people who are also my friends that are doing some really extraordinary things. So I'm so excited today to have Sara Ashley here, who is an amazing astrologer. How are you doing, Sara?
I'm great. How are you, Megan?
I'm doing so good. We were just talking about how today just feels so cozy and comfortable, and we just showed up like really laid back, which I feel like is so important.
Yeah, especially like since this is conversations with friends anyway, so it shouldn't be like formal. So it just should be like come as you are, just like as if we were having coffee together in real life. Because I know you have your coffee. We were talking about this. I have my hot cocoa, and it's
Yeah,
like if I was sitting on your couch, and that's just like the best feeling.
it totally is. And your moon is in Cancer, isn't it?
It is, yeah. So it's at 11 degrees Cancer. So it's sometime in the middle of the night tonight while I'm asleep. I'll have my monthly lunar return. Where's your moon again, Megan? I totally
Oh,
forgot.
my moon is in Sag.
I love that.
Yeah, you have Venus in Sag, right?
Yeah. So yeah, what
That's why
degree
we
is
like
it?
connect.
What degree? Yeah, what degree is your moon? Do you
At
remember?
2 degrees.
Okay, my Venus is at 19 degrees and my Uranus is at 12 degrees.
Oh,
So
nice.
yeah, we definitely connect. We both have like that wild kind of side to us that kind of connects together. I could see like if you and I met in person, we'd have a lot of fun.
Oh, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like if we met 10 years ago, we'd probably have gotten into a lot of trouble together.
Show guys. I don't think it can be on YouTube. That's all.
No, it was a different time. That we only had those like cameras that you had to like take to get the film.
I gotta say, thank God, cell phones were not like I had cell phones, but like smartphones weren't around during my era because yeah, I know like there is footage out of there. Yeah, one day it's gonna hit me. So when I was in college my freshman year, like one person in my dorm had like one of those it was not like the full video camera, but it was like it kind of looked like a phone, but it wasn't yet. I don't know what it was called. Like it was, one of those things that was just like a blip. And his friend came in from out of town. All the girls made out with him. It was like nothing salacious. He was just really cute. We're like, whoa, a boy this hot. Oh my God. But like not at the same time. It wasn't like that. So I'm like, and my roommate saw it because like of course the boys kept on looking at it, like all of like the girls like making out with their friend, like ooh. And so then my roommate saw it when she came back on Monday, and she's like, I can't look at you this like I know that footage is out there somewhere. It's out there somewhere waiting to haunt me, even though it's fully clothed. He was fully clothed, but whatever. It was, 20 years ago or something. But
Oh my God. You just have to look at those moments like, I fucking lived.
I know I was
Like, I'm so glad, like, I had them. I'm glad I got it out of my system. Like, I'm so glad. I can't say I didn't enjoy those times.
it was fun. That's the Sagittarius in you and me. And like everyone has to just like say, I'm gonna claim my fun part, my wild part, my sexual part, the inner beast. And the key is to not let it rule you and override your logic and reason, especially like the older that you get. But people who try to like cage the beast, those people are like probably the most unhappy individuals ever. Like, wouldn't you agree? Like some of those people, they're just so like repressed and they're not in touch with their sacral chakra. So they're really not in divine alignment.
Yeah, it's so true. It's so true. I feel like there's so much programming where it's just like you can't be spiritual and sensual. It's like you must appear this way and like you must live in the upper chakras and float above everything. But like we're here to be human. Like I was just thinking like earlier, I'm like, man, we don't know how long we're going to be in a human body before we go off to some other adventure. Like why are we fighting when we could be doing so many other enjoyable, pleasurable things?
Exactly. There's a reason why sex feels good. Dancing is fun. Food is amazing. And yeah, those are all like very Taurus things, like root chakra, sacral chakra things. But at the same time, like you just said, like how long are we going to be human for? And the key is to be like selective about who you indulge with and what you indulge in. And of course, like mind altering substances can definitely like make you sick and take you out of your own body and put you into negative portals. So like discernment is key, but definitely having the human experience, that's what we're here for. There's a reason why in this carnation we're humans. So why not enjoy it?
Yeah, I'm so glad you brought that up too, because I feel like my mermaid teachings are all about sovereign sensuality. And it's like two part where first you've got to like, do it for yourself first, like please yourself first, indulge yourself first. And then you're like overflowing and whoever like you selectively get to have as a part of whatever your experiences are, like they get that second, which can be really challenging for us as women. And then the other part of it is just really asking yourself, like, with every single thing, like, is this okay for me? Or am I taking on what somebody else said about it or what they think about it? And this is okay,
Right.
and this is not okay. So it definitely takes a lot of discernment and practice.
Yeah, definitely. And trying to override the programming. And I don't know if it was you who I was talking about this with or someone else. I can't remember, but it was another divine feminine about the Madonna and whore complex in society, that programming. It's like you're one or the other. You're like this sacred mother, or you're just, for lack of a better word, whore, which is a horrible thing. That's a horrible title. So it's like, just like a man, can be a divine father, right? And be in his giving mode, right? Because men are supposed to have that providing part of them and also enjoy his sexuality. It's like women can infuse those two and be somewhere on the spectrum of both. It doesn't have to be this extreme one way or another thing.
Yeah, that's really so true. And I think it just hurts us when we box ourselves or box other people in. And that's why I really love the archetype of the mermaid, because I feel like that
Yeah.
energy holds that like wild femininity that like couldn't be tamed, and like the patriarchy like couldn't like completely get rid of that energy. It's like it's always been a part of consciousness. And like when we connect to that in our femininity, especially in these elemental things, like I feel like you have a lot of fairy energy too. It's like anytime we connect with the earth,
Can't
yeah.
go. I'm trying to like point to it. And I'm like, I don't know what side it's on if I do. Okay, like
Oh
that.
yeah, well, I don't know where it would be pointing.
I'm like, what do I do? Yes, over there
Yeah.
on the side. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, but it's so healing when like we tune into like the abundance and the sensuality of nature and recognize the innocence of it.
The playful side,
Hmm.
our inner child. That's where it's at. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if this is how you help heal people, but I have a feeling it is like when people feel stuck, I'm like, okay, what is it that you just love doing at 12, 13, 14, 15 years old? Like, get back to that Page of Wands energy. And that's going to like reignite you. That's going to pull you out of your dark side. That's going to pull you out of your depression. That's going to pull you out of your stagnancy.
Yeah, that's so powerful. It's so important when we like look back and we realize that that part of us that we feel like is not there, it didn't go anywhere. Like we can still access it, like we can still access that part of ourselves that was like so playful and free.
Yeah. Like, again, it's the programming. It's like, no, you're an adult now. Time to be boring. Just like, a few minutes ago, when we were talking about like our wild days, like, okay, we can't just be completely, like dancing in tables anymore and stuff like that, every weekend and then taking shots and meeting, that's like, that's not going to happen. We're both moms now, we have responsibilities, but integrating some of those parts of ourselves. It's about integration and figuring out how we feel most balanced and stable is so super important. So that fun part of us shouldn't just disappear. Right. So if we want to go dancing out with our girlfriends once a month, and that doesn't mean we have to get like blindly drunk or anything like that. But even if it's just like sober and we're just having a fun time doing karaoke and all that kind of stuff, getting dressed up, like, why not? Have
Yeah.
fun. It's part of life. we're here for fun too, not just for work.
I know, it's so true. And I feel like when we start to treat ourselves in life like as sacred,
Mhm.
we're gonna approach those things in a good way. Where before when we were younger, it was like we wanted to feel alive. Like that's the shadow side of Sag, is you're looking for that aliveness. So when you start to find it in like these like holy sacred ways that are like in co-creation, you approach these acts in such a different way. You bring a different energy to it. So it's like you can absolutely have fun, but it's like you're having fun like channeling like the juicy energy of like the goddess like in human form. Like that's like worshiping God.
Definitely, definitely. We're representing the feminine when we're doing that. I love that. It's so beautiful. What sign is your Lilith in again?
In Taurus.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
For a statement. And then, yeah, makes full sense. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I know. I love your Lilith in Aquarius. Like, I love that energy so much. Like, I'm always like, dang, look at that jacket or those boots. Like, it's just like you have that like edge. Like, it's like low key edge. Like, you only bring it out like sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes when I have the energy to do it, because
I
it's
know.
like if so much earth in my chart, I'm like, not today. You know,
Yeah.
how it is. Like someday, especially being a mom and everything. I know like your little one's a lot younger than mine, but still, it's like the mental energy it takes to be a mom, even when they're older. Sometimes, like when they're older, far outweighs the physical energy that we spend on our children. It's just like as women, as emotional providers, even if we don't have our own children, a lot of our energy is spent on taking care of other people.
Yeah. Yeah. And I bet as like a Cancer moon, like you really feel that and have to like focus on self-care,
It's in
huh?
my seventh house too. So that's something I've been rewiring the past couple months ever since the eclipses is not wearing other people's emotional baggage. Like I can listen to you, I can hear you, I can spend time with you, but then also providing that boundary there where I'm not absorbing, I'm just becoming more of an observer. It's really helped me.
That's so good. Yeah, I've been seeing like your videos about like boundaries and all of this stuff. And I feel like it's such an important message because, honestly, like the way that we set boundaries allows us to help more people. Because if we're constantly being drained by these little interactions all throughout the day, we don't
Mhm.
have the energy and the time to focus on like our true work that's going to reach more people, help more people.
Definitely, definitely. And I know we both work with clients and, you know, each client is different. And some clients show up and they want to hear what we have to say. And some of the clients just want to speak, right? And also providing that boundary for ourselves, like saying, okay, like they did not want to receive the help that I wanted to give them, but maybe this is just what they needed and rewiring my programming with that too, like that I didn't give them the service that I wanted them to have because they didn't want it. They just wanted to kind of like unload, even though I couldn't really assist because they wouldn't let me. That's something else that I'm working on too. Just saying, that's okay. That's okay. That's theirs. It's not mine. It's okay.
Yeah, that's such a powerful statement because it's like you have to really let go of responsibility. Like once you make a soul contract of like client and like session, because it's like I always trust and I set the intention that I only attract and magnetize people that I can support. And so then like if I let go of like it needing to look like this or that and just recognize like I'm showing up as this empty vessel, like, okay, source, like what needs to happen, then it's
Yeah.
like it creates that structure where you know the more that we create these like structures, like intentional structures of this is what I want, this is the type of client I want to work with, this is the work that I like, and then it's like that's when the feminine has all this like energy and creativity to flow. So it's like boundaries are one of the most important things we can have in our life.
Exactly. Yeah, we need them. We really need them. And just because you have boundaries doesn't mean you can't have close relationships. And I think that's like a common misconception amongst people like, oh, so you're saying that I can't have a close relationship? Like I just have to treat everybody like I'm a cashier at the Kroger. It's like, no, that's not how it is at all. It just means that sometimes you need more space than other days, and that's okay. Like,
Yeah.
like, what have been your, I guess, like, biggest lessons with creating boundaries with people? Like, what are your biggest lessons for yourself right now?
I feel like it's just not making myself feel wrong for it, because I think there's just like this people pleasing aspect we're all getting over. We're like being like spiritual meant being nice. So it's like we have to get I saw a mentor one time, and like she just like looked at me like straight in the eye with these like jaguar eyes, and she was like, "You are drowning in your niceness." And I was like I was. And it's still like something that I feel like we all have to get over, like feeling like, oh, I can't offend someone or I can't make them feel bad or, what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, because you don't want to hurt them,
Right.
but then they're hurting you. So then, but they don't know that they're hurting you. And like, I'll give you an example. The other day, I think it was last weekend, this woman sent me like 16 videos of herself talking to me. And I was like, the first one I watched it because I didn't know that the other 15 were going to roll in. And I knew it was going to hurt her if I just ignored her. But if I watched all the videos, I knew that would hurt me a lot because I don't, who knows what she's saying. And also, I literally just did not have the time. So what I did is I just thank you for sending me these videos. I just don't have the time to watch these, but I appreciate you and have a wonderful weekend. And then she stopped sending me the videos. But old Sarah, 2 years ago, Sarah, when I would have started my Instagram, probably would have watched them all because I would have felt bad that she put all this effort into sending me all these videos. But now I'm like, no, because it's either way, it's if I keep on watching these and encouraging her, it's taking my energy and eventually it's going to take her energy too. So just creating that boundary of thank you, but I can't watch these all. It's fine. And everyone was fine.
Yeah, yeah. And I love that you said that because it also teaches other people. Like obviously, if someone is engaging in a behavior like that, it's because they're just not aware of how to like reel in their energy or focus it in the right way. And so you modeling that like gives them another option moving forward of like, oh, if I'm in a situation where I feel like I'm being overloaded by something, like I have this script to work from that's like in their consciousness now. So it's like
Yeah.
really beneficial. And congratulations, because that's a big breakthrough, especially with all that cancer energy. Like it's tough. It's tough to get into that space of nurturing yourself first.
Yeah. Yeah. Because at first I felt like, am I being selfish? I'm like, no, because it's selfish if I'm just terrified of hurting people all the time. And I know I'm not being an asshole because an asshole would be like, why the fuck are you sending me 16 videos? Like, that's what an asshole would do. And I'm like, no, I'm not being insensitive. I'm being sensitive to this woman. I understand she might have some issues. So I'm not being, rude or anything like that. So we just all have to kind of learn that we can't please everyone. Sometimes we can't even please ourselves, but we do have to think about how is this going to affect my energy and my abilities to use my gifts at the end of the day, like you were saying. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so true. And there was an experience for me where someone had booked the session or booked an exploratory call to talk about a session. And then he started sending me these weird long emails about like all this like inappropriate stuff. And like,
Mhm.
I just created like a very clear email, like, thank you so much. I don't feel like we're a match for working together. I wish you all the best. And yeah, it's like you just, and the thing is like you really have to get clear about like, okay, when does this need a response and when would a response be feeding into something? Because that's
Yeah.
also like this fine line, because sometimes like you could say that to a person, and rather than her taking it like, oh, okay, it might be like, oh, Sara Ashley is talking to me, here's my chance to say this and
Mhm.
this. Like, so yeah, it's really interesting how consciousness works. It's just like every moment is just, you just have to get curious about it.
Yeah. Yeah. And when we're not depleted, we can show up for people who really do need us. It's not just about ourselves, like who really need us, clients who need that healing, who actually do want to do the work. Or like, even when you like go to the grocery store and you might just have like some small interaction with someone who just like make their day and brighten their day. And you might have not been in that mood if you were just giving your energy away to, like, I hate to say it, but energy vampires.
Yeah, it's really true. And I feel like another way that people like kind of have this energy vampire essence is, all of the haters and the trolls and things that are part of social media. And I know that you had a post a while back where you were kind of standing up for your sensuality and your freedom of expression. And tell me about that. How has your experience been as like stepping into the spiritual realm, but also being very feminine and very confident in who you are and how you show up in this feminine energy?
Oh, thank you for saying all those beautiful things about me. I really appreciate that, Megan. And right back at you. I mean, you're just so like beautiful and how you show up. It's not just your physicality, it's how you show up. You show up confident, but not cocky. And that's just so beautiful. And you're so soft in every way, but you also mean business. So I love that. I love that about you. So thank you for being a role model and influence to me. I gotta say that. So uh, yeah. Anyways, so at the beginning, it was funny because the first day I put up my website, which was about 2 years ago. So I put up my Facebook and my Instagram up at the same time. You know how like they synchronize. So this guy's like, I want an in-person reading. And I was like, I don't do that. Sorry. And it turned into this ugliness and he started sending me dick pics. I'm like, all right, here we go. Here we go.
Right. Ease right into it.
I'm like, training. All right. Just like the divine wants to just throw me in here, throw me into the snake pit and learn how to survive. I haven't had too many interactions like that since. But to be honest with you, it's been mostly other women who have said some nasty things to me. And it hasn't really gotten to me. But when they say it about other women too, that's when I start getting like uproarious. And I think that's my Cancer moon. And when it's not just about me, when they say things about BA who works with me at the Mystic Art. So they'll say things about both of us or her when we're on a podcast together. And it really pisses me off. So one of the things that we both get from other women when we're on podcasts with other men is shut up, let him speak. I didn't come on to hear Sarah or BA speak. I came on here to hear Ishmael speak. I'm like, oh my gosh, you're setting us back like 200 years. I can't. And it's just like, okay, I get that you want to hear Ishmael speak. Ishmael is amazing. I love Ishmael. He's a soul brother to me, and he channels things that are so inspirational and illuminating to all of us in the collective. But to not want to hear another woman's perspective as another woman tells me that there's some programming there that needs to be demolished. And I don't hate them, but I feel bad for them because there's something with inside of them. It's projection that what they're saying essentially is, I can't speak, right? And because I can't speak, because my throat chakra is closed, I want these other women's throat chakras to be closed. Or why are you wearing makeup? Your face looks beautiful without it. But it's not just that one comment is, then I'll get a message, stop wearing makeup. And BA will get the same stuff. I'm sure she won't be upset that I'm talking about this because her and I both have spoken publicly about this and commented back about it. And like filters and things like that, which I don't usually use, but it's besides the point. It's usually women clapping back. And I really think it's a projection of their blockages in their programming. So when they see another woman who's more sovereign, more free in her expression, it triggers them, it sets them off. So when I created that post the other day, it was to educate. I think it was like almost a month ago. And I was standing there in my underwear and bra, which I would have never, ever, ever imagined doing, especially because I was a high school teacher for so long. I was like, getting that programming out of my head that I couldn't put that on there. I would have lost my job a couple of years ago if I would have done that. But putting that post up there with the caption about sluts and bimbos, and because they've called us that, oh, you must be sucking blah 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 to be on the show, and just ridiculous stuff. And it's so devaluing. I thought, okay, I need to speak up. I need to tell these women that you're wrong. You're wrong, and you're hurting other women. You're not hurting me. You're actually hurting yourself. You're hurting your daughters. You're hurting your granddaughters. And I felt compelled to strip down to that point to show my vulnerability. You know what I mean? To capture the attention. Because I feel like if I was just in my regular outfit like I am today, it would not have captured the same attention. And since then, those comments have died down. I think it's because of the energy that I put out there. Like, no, you're not gonna fuck with me. This isn't allowed. And no, can I teach everybody? No, because not everyone has an open mind. But I had to. It's one of those things. It's like it was an opportunity to speak up and speak out, and I did.
I'm so glad. And especially hearing the backstory. First of all, I'm just like so sorry that you have to deal with that, because I get it. Like it's tough. And it's one of those things where like we really have to be in our self-care practice, because it takes a lot of integrity and like personal work to get to a space where you can make that observation of like, yes, this person is coming from fear and it's a bigger issue. And, I'm triggering this because it needs to be witnessed. But like the human aspect of that is like, it still brings up a lot, and it feels really disappointing, especially, when you're just wanting to be yourself and have fun and like do something that you love and talk about the things that you love. So
Um,
yeah, it feels challenging, but I'm so glad that you did that. And I'm so glad that you guys are just showing, that there's no one way to do this spiritual journey. And when we
wow.
think that we have to be like these like puritanical, like, I don't know what, like, it doesn't even make sense. Like nothing in nature is like that.
No, like if you just like watch like animals, like and how they behave, like they just like the cutest animals that aren't predators, they're constantly being playful and like silly, like these like stupid squirrels, like call them stupid squirrels, are probably like more incredibly intelligent than we ever know. Like I have this big old tree because I live in like a 7-year-old home. So this big tree outside my office window, and like 3 or 4 squirrels are always like chasing each other around it. I'm like, oh, they're playing this like little game, they're having fun. And like you said, it's innocent, but it's not like uptight. And you were right about that. It doesn't even exist in nature, that uptightness, it's like I can't think of the word right now, but it doesn't create anything, that kind of vibration. That's a very negative, fearful vibration, especially the fear of one's self-expression. It's like the anti-expression.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know recently I had someone comment on one of the marketing materials, or like the images I had. I think it was for my Lilith journey, and they were like, you don't have to dress like that or look like that to sell your stuff or to speak your thing. And it's just like, what are you talking about? I was like, I had a high cut. I'm like, I could be wearing a potato sack and like I just have a feminine body. Like, why not just rock
You
it and create art,
yeah.
and like and that's another thing too. It's interesting to see the reaction in the collective about like this AI art.
God, you and I were laughing about that. I actually got a lot of positive feedback because I did turn my comments off because I just didn't want my page to be a forum for negative discourse and arguments. So, I have my AI picture right here, and I know you did yours too. It was just fun. It was like, this is a filter, and it's kind of fun to see like what you would look like as a fairy or a mermaid or a warrior or like in a piece of oil painting art. And I know like you and I were talking about it, like these people are like, you sold your soul, you signed your face off to these other corporations. It's like, well, our pictures were already on their websites on Facebook and Instagram. So they already had ownership over them. So it's like, might as well have fun.
I was just thinking the same thing. And it's so funny because it's like there's two camps of people that are like in an uproar. And like the first is like artists, and they're like, it's gonna take away like artistry and creativity. And we spend all this time on it, and how dare like someone create something in seconds. And then the AI fearful people are like, this is the beginning of transhumanism and the robots are taking over the world. And I'm just like, what? Like it's just art, and we have to look at these because it's giving us a lot of data. Like, first of all, it's showing that people feel that creativity is a limited resource when it's not. It's like, this is
No.
creating so much more, like just more everything. Why not? And then the AI thing, it's really like people get so stuck on these stories of like, oh, this is going to happen and this is going to happen, and it just takes us out of the present moment. It's
Yeah.
like, why not just enjoy and embrace the technology and recognize the neutrality of it?
Yeah. Part of it is I think a lot of people are still in trauma mode and crisis mode from what happened almost 3 years ago now. I mean, it's
Yeah.
almost 3 years ago. And yeah, there was a collective trauma. And most people aren't admitting that they were traumatized from being, in a pandemic type of situation without knowing what was going to happen next. So we were all trying to game out what are they going to do? What's their next move? And then after the jab came out, what's the next move after that? And what's going to happen next? And are we all going to have to be, have these like digital cards? People are talking about that. And there's just a lot of fear behind that. And I don't want to get into like all the politics of that, but a lot of people are still stuck in that moment of fear, and they haven't stepped out of it into the present because at that time, the present might have been too hard for them to face. So they're still stuck in that what's going to happen next phase. And what are the people of the cabal? And there is a cabal, but let's face it, it's not like there are these evil geniuses in a Batman movie, right? Like us as humanity is always going to overcome these evil forces. We always are. The light always wins. So to give so much power and authority to these people, especially with these AI drawings, it's too much. It's way too much.
Yeah. Wow. I feel like you just said something so profound there about the collective trauma. And it makes me think of like Atlantis and the core wound that we had there, and how it's like humanity is like repeating itself in so many ways. But you know going back to animals, it's like when an animal experiences a trauma, like they shake it out of their body and like they
Yeah.
let go and then they can move on. But I feel like we are in so much matrix programming that like our bodies are like tense and frozen, and so like our nervous system keeps reacting like danger, 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 even though there's not any more danger. And so yeah, I feel like that perspective helps us to have so much compassion for people that are in that story, because it's not a fun place to be.
No, it's not. It's not. Yeah. And I hope that people are able to get out of that moment. I think some people won't be able to. There's just going to be a select few. I mean, I think about my grandparents who, they were children when World War II happened in Europe, but their whole entire lives were predicated on that trauma. If I track like everything they did, and even the way they raised their kids, which wasn't necessarily bad. My mom and my uncle weren't abused by any means, but there was a lot of fear incorporated in their upbringing. And that's because of the trauma that they endured in World War II. So if you look at every generation, you're going to see that. and to see, okay, this person was stuck in fear because of this thing that happened to them. They did this because of this past thing that happened to them, or their parents did this, and that's why they, won't move out of their hometown or whatever it is.
Yeah. I'm so glad you brought that up because there's so much courage that it takes to move past like our ancestral programming and
Yeah.
like, the limits of our ancestors and moving just beyond the tribal mind in general. And so, what do you feel like is the best thing that we can do? I really, and I know you're kind of on the same page where it's like, we're not here to fix those people. Like, everyone's on their own timeline, but like, what can we do in our lives to just give other people more options or show that like we don't have to be in suffering?
Just it takes a lot of work. It's not an overnight light switch answer, but to really trust yourself, to trust your intuition is number one. Number one. So many people don't trust themselves because they've been told not to trust themselves. They've been gaslit by their families, they've been gaslit by society, the school system, their employers, whoever. But there's this little voice inside of them that says, wow, I'm not these things. I make a really good artist, or I make a really good musician, or I make an amazing architect, or whatever it is. And listening to that voice and actually making a plan to structure your life based on your intuition, that's what you can do to move yourself into your divine alignment, into your most powerful, best self. And when I speak of power, it doesn't mean that you have this power to wield over people like a general or a king. It's not like that. It's more about having authority over your own life, in the direction of your life, being sovereign enough to say, um, I can make my own hours in my life, or I don't have to be in this miserable, shitty job that doesn't pay that much. And I'm just working to pay these bills at this job that I don't like. So what we can all do is just find who we're supposed to be and believe that's us, not these labels, which is easier said than done. A lot easier said than done.
Yeah. Wow. It's so true. And I love that you brought up that it takes work because it's not this instant fix. Like we can't overcome all matrix programming and ancestral beliefs and everything like in 1 second. And like if anyone says that that's like true, beware because like we have to be very honest with ourselves and transparent on this journey. And it's really just like what the mermaids teach is about bliss consciousness, which comes out of self mastery. Once you master the mind and you master your body and you live in co-creation, then it's like all this creativity and imagination and like everything just comes through you because you've done the work to receive it. Like I get so many clients all the time like, I want to activate my psychic gifts, I want to do this, and it's like great, but got to get in your body first. You got to be monitoring your thoughts. You got to like be a successful human. And then that's when you can start to receive like the gifts in a grounded way. Otherwise, you're just going to be up here and you're not experiencing the experience.
Right, exactly. I love how you said experiencing the experience, because a lot of people could say, okay, like I'm going to use my intuitive gifts, right? And I'm going to create monetize my gifts. So I'm going to create a website, blah, 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 blah. But they're always in their head about, I'm not making enough money this month. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing that. What else can I do right? What am I doing wrong? It's like, okay, if you just ground yourself and allow yourself to feel the highs and the lows of the journey, right? Get into the lower chakras and feel this out, then it's going to go a lot better. It doesn't mean it's going to always go smoothly, but it's going to go a lot better. I was thinking about something, but I lost it. So I'll let you talk.
No, it's just so true. I mean, what you said about like the highs and the lows, it's so important. And I feel like sometimes people get stuck. I mean, it's very challenging when you're in an emotion to feel like it's going to pass, but it always does. It's just when we like push it away that it creates the issue. So it's like if it's like the ocean, like we ride the waves, we ride the tide, and we recognize like I feel like the fear is all because we've mistakenly identified that we're a wave that's different from the ocean, rather
Mm,
than recognizing that the wave has all of the qualities of the ocean, but it just has a form. So it's seeing out of a different lens. And then it's like, if we just all start seeing, like, wow, obviously we shouldn't be agreeing, we should be exploring, because everybody is God, experiencing God through their eyes. And
yeah.
like, so everybody's perspective is just as valid. And like, if we agree on everything, what would be the point?
It'd be boring. It'd be boring. You
Yeah.
never hear a new perspective. Be the most boring thing ever. I can't imagine like that one size fits all. You're talking about wearing the potato sack. Sounds like potato sack universe. I don't want to live there. Get me off of that right
Yeah. I'm
away.
like, no, thank you, 0 stars.
I know, right? Sounds
Yeah.
terrible.
Yeah. And I feel like, like the final thing that we can share today is just that it's okay to be a human, like just experiencing the human thing and not having it all together, and still be spiritual and still be divine and be all of the things, instead of just having to be this or that and then shaming ourselves for these unrealistic expectations.
Thank you. I love that you said that. Shaming ourselves for these unrealistic expectations.
It's real.
Amen. And last night I made a reel that was similar to what you were saying, but you just summed it up like in 2 seconds there, shaming ourselves for these unrealistic expectations. Because um, I was putting on this sweatshirt and it had the Nike logo. And I know like some people won't wear Nike anymore, and I get that, but like every label has its issues, some more than others. And I was thinking, oh my gosh, if I show this in one of my videos, I bet I get such negative feedback. I bet I get like 50 comments of people being like, why are you wearing Nike? Are you part of the cabal? Like that kind of stuff. And so I was like, oh, this is inspiration for like, you can't always please everybody. And also you can't always be perfect. That's the thing. A lot of us were brought up in these evangelical, high demand, puritanical methodologies, religions, paradigms, whatever you want to call it. And we really got to get out of that mindset. Spirituality is supposed to free you of that, not free of self-reflection. Self-reflection is a huge part of spirituality. That's part of shadow work. That's part of being in alignment with yourself. Um, but constantly trying to be perfect and not making mistakes is not going to get you where you want to go. It's not going to get you where you want to go, because we all need to learn. That's what this journey is all about. It's not about perfection. It's about learning. And guess what, guys? We get to do this all again. It's an endless cycle. It's the cycle, the wheel of karma, or whatever it's called. I can't remember. It's like the wheel of fortune card in tarot. It's like we're always going. I think, is it dharma or karma? I don't remember. Megan, you probably know.
It's all part of it, yeah.
It's all
I
part of
think,
it. It's all part of
yeah.
it.
Well, on a side note, I feel like karma is your south node and dharma is your north node,
I
like
love that.
astrology.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're right. Like, it's not supposed to be about perfection. Like, this is a school, and I totally get it. Like, where we're having to like let go of that programming, having to be good, of having to be pure, of having to be perfect. And when we like show up in this way where we're just who we are, real and relatable, we're going to be able to create so much more change and good things, because it's like, oh, she's doing it, and she's showing up exactly as she is. A perfect example of that is like, sometimes with my daughter, it's like I'll be having a client or a phone call, and like she'll just go screaming down the hallway, and it's like, what do you do in those moments? You just show up with grace and you just keep on going, and recognize that like life is going to happen and we just have to keep moving with it.
Exactly. Like my dog likes to like push at my door, because my daughter's a little older now, so she won't do that. But my dog likes to like push at my door and then come in and go out. I'm like, excuse me, just 1 second. It's like, you're right. It's a part of life. Like, we're not corporate executives. Thank God. If you and I wanted to be, we could. I think you were, but it's like, we don't want to be. We just want to show up messy and real and help other people find their way while we're finding our own way. And we're just all supposed to guide each other. And that's it. That's it.
Yeah, that's so beautiful. Well, I'm so grateful for this conversation, and I'm so grateful that your throat chakra is not closed and that you and BA are on those platforms giving your feminine, beautiful opinions, because it's just we have to recognize that even when we trigger those people, that's good. Like,
It
ooh, we're
is.
stirring the pot, they're
Yeah.
getting thinking, and some that's just a part of it. But if somebody wants to work with you or find you, share about that.
Sure. So I do personal astrology, tarot, and Akashic records readings. You could find me at www.sarahashleyAstrology.com. Right now, I'm doing 2023 readings too. So those are personalized readings for what to expect in the new year. I do your major astrological transits and your tarot reading for the year. So I have that available right now. And then I also teach astrology, tarot, psychic clairvoyance, starseed astrology on the mysticarts.org. BA and I are going to teach, I believe, the second week of January. It's going to be a Sunday class. It's not up yet. It's going to be called Love Magic. And it's not just about like magical spells to find your love. It's not like that at all. It's all about finding love within yourself, how to love yourself, how to manifest your best self and your most powerful self so you can reignite that flame within you and you can attract your soul tribe, soulmate, twin flame into your life. It's not about here's a twin flame, great, now bye. It's not like that at all. It's all about manifestation. So we're really excited to have that. And we're going to put that up soon. So that's what's coming.
Yay, that's so exciting. And we'll link those websites in the bio below. And thank you so much, Sarah Ashley. It's been wonderful to have you on today.
It was a pleasure, Megan. Thanks again, honey, and I'll see you soon, okay?
All right, bye.